Hey everyone, common denominator, thanks for coming to the channel. I'm gonna do a little commentary on this interview Vlad TV did on rapper Hopsin and speaking proper versus speaking black. Let me roll some tape.
So it's been said that you kind of felt like you were ostracized, growing up in the black community. Can you speak on that?
Yeah, okay. That's a very good question. Thank you for asking that one. It's so stupid the way there is, okay, I'm what color am I? I'm black, I'm dark skinned. The sound that's coming out of my mouth, if it doesn't sound a certain way, that means people are gonna categorize me as a certain type of black, which I think is wrong, so.
Okay, so he's being ostracized in his community because he doesn't sound like the typical thug. This is a problem because we have an issue. Okay, let me bring it to you like this. First of all, let's compare it with white America first. White America, you have Northerners, you have Southerners, you have Westerners. They all have different dialects. They all sound different, but they're all white. In African America, we have same thing, Northerners, Southerners, Westerners. Everyone sounds different. Now, it also depends on where you grow up. He lived in LA, but his friends and his schools, his teachers were the influence behind his language, how his language developed. More on that, hold on.
I speak properly. I ain't like, hey nigga, you not talking about me, I'm out here doing. Like I'm not one of those guys.
All right, obviously he's not a thug and it doesn't fit his personality. He's being real. Anything outside of what he is, speaking properly, which there's nothing wrong with that. But anything outside of that is considered acting white. What does that say about black American culture? If you speak too properly, but you know what? It's not just black American culture. I was doing a little bit of research and I found out that it's also in white culture. I'm gonna do a video on this later, but rednecks or hillbillies also take issue with white people who speak to quote unquote proper.
And I've never been one of those guys. Yeah. It's not that I didn't choose to be, it's just the schools that I went to and all that. You grow up and you just talk how you talk, And yeah, but as I got older, I started to see like black people would clown me and say that I don't act black. And it's like my parents are from the South. My roots go back to slavery strongly. Like what is black? Is it just because of how my voice is sounding, how my words are coming out, that they're coming out clearly, that they're saying I act white? And then it's also stupid for black people to have said that. White people say it too, but it's dumb because they're just empowering the white people going. Because what that really means is you don't act black because of how you talk. You speak well. We're niggas, we don't speak well.
All right, this is a huge problem because black people in the inner city have developed this culture where if you speak too well, it's almost like you're trying to be better than them or you're trying to be like someone else. But no, you just want to speak English the way it's supposed to be spoken. Now, let me give you a little background. I'm African American. My parents are immigrants, but I'm black. I wasn't raised in the hood. Therefore, the way I speak sounds different to most people who are from the hood. It's your environment. It's where you're from. You're going to sound different. I'm also college educated, but so are a lot of other black people. But they may come from the hood, but because of their surroundings, they sound a certain way. Now, for you to hate on someone who had certain friends or was raised a certain way, that's very prejudicial, and that's the sort of thing that we try to avoid as black people. But here we are being prejudicial against one of our own because he may speak a certain way. This problem goes into many, many different areas of black society, from the way we dress to sports, TV shows we watch, the music we listen to, everything. There's a lot of hypocrisy, and I'm going to point that out in a couple of videos. I hope you'll subscribe, because the videos that are going to follow this are going to point out these hypocrisies.
We're not that's all.
We're not articulate.
We're not articulate. We're not educated in that way, but you are, so you're white, because they're the power. They're the ones who make things happen and have, like, that's low key what that's saying.
Basically.
So yeah. So it's like, what do you, like, I lived in the same environment as these people. We all hung out together. Everything the same. Only difference was I talked differently.
All right, this is so let me continue. This guy, he's obviously, famous, he's successful, he comes from a black background, he doesn't deny being black, he's taking part in a black art form, hip-hop, rap, okay? And he's still being criticized.
And they just felt the need to, like, disown me kinda, and always try to, like, fight me. So yeah, it was difficult growing up, and then but it kind of overall just put me in a place where I'm just like, I'm just do me. I'm just be my own person.
All right, let me make a few points. We have slavery. During slavery, we weren't taught English. So as a result, people picked up English in pieces. And then when the slaves started to learn English, they learned it from a position of ignorance, from a position of poor education. And you can still see examples of this in the way people talk. If you ever go to the South, you'll hear a mix of well-spoken black Americans with a Southern accent and black Americans who can barely speak English. Okay, who could speak like 70% of the language, and they almost have what you could consider their own language. Now, you have to consider the argument of nature versus nurture. You go to school. In school, these black people, okay, now, you have a white teacher, you have white classmates, you're going to pick up English. English is a white language, okay? If you want to claim people are being white, don't speak English at all. All right, just don't speak English at all, because it's not our language. You need to go learn some African dialects, okay, if you want to be 100% with it. So there are a lot of factors. Then also living in a certain neighborhood would determine, and having certain friends. And then we live in a melting pot. We have all these different ethnicities. So here he is, we wanted to be integrated. Now we're integrated. And now when we're learning from others, we criticize.
And yeah, all those people who would judge me and all that, they're not anywhere special in their life. They would kill to be in my shoes. And I always saw a bigger picture in life. So what the way they used to treat me was just wrong. There was no need to say that just because of how the sound out of my mouth was coming out and it sounded proper. They just wanted to clown me. Yeah.
All right, now, so they're gonna clown him out. Most people would have given up and probably would have just spoken Ebonics. Ebonics, in my opinion, represents ignorance. It goes back to slavery. It's not a cadence that African Americans have, because you have intelligent, well-spoken African Americans who have an African American cadence, but then you have people like the rapper types who just can't speak English, who refuse to speak properly, and they think it's cool, they think it's cute, and they're setting a bad example. We're actually going backwards towards slavery. People are speaking like slaves and speaking like criminals. They're picking up the criminal dialect. It's something maybe they got from jail or something, but
it's just stupid. So that's why I felt that way growing up.
You still feel that way now at all? Like
it still does happen, but since I'm a rapper with bars, it kind of balances the nigga bar a little bit. It makes it go, okay, this nigga can rap. But it still happens though. You can still hear the pronunciation very strongly in my words of, I guess, white, what they would call it. But It happens though, and I still sense it, and it will always be there. It especially shows when when I talk to black girls, they're like, nigga, you act white. Like that's always the first thing that the ghetto ones. That's the first thing I'm like, man, yeah, that's why you'll never see me with a lot of black girls. It's just weird. I mean, it's not weird on me. They feel weird around me.
So do you have a preference in like women that you date?
I have a girlfriend right now. She's white. She's from Australia. But if I was single, I don't care. It doesn't matter to me. I'll date any type of girl, any culture, any race. I have no preference. So it doesn't matter to me at all, really.
When it comes to dating, I can understand him. I purposely, when I was dating black women, I'm African American. When I wanted to date black women, I would date black women who specifically spoke properly, okay? That's what I was looking for. I ended up dating black women from different countries because they were preferable.
Now you have the floor.
But like he said, we was in college. I mean...
Yeah, but you dropped out and you're unemployed.
Nah.
He's employed and still matriculated in college.
I'm in college, like I said, anyways.
You list your occupation as unemployed.
Yeah, unemployed. Yeah, I'm a student. Right.
Well,
yeah.
You don't list student either. You aren't going right now.
Anyways.
Man, this is not in the middle of the school semester, but you withdrew.
The story, man. You feel me? We was in college. You
don't talk over me. Go ahead.
He got his own crib. You know what I mean? So I was paying him to stay with him. You know what I'm saying? My little cousin came over. You feel me? And we little, you know what I'm saying? Just how little animals is. They want to play.
You went to college and you're talking like that, bro. You trying to act like a hood rat.
It don't matter, you feel me? Well, we was playing anyways.
What's your problem? Are you trying to perpetrate that you were a hood rat?
With me, so.
All right, here's Judge Joe Brown. Judge Joe Brown doesn't take any nonsense from these thugs, okay? Look at this guy. Look at this guy with his chain and, his long T-shirt down to his knees. He looks ridiculous, but somehow in the black community, this is normal. This is acting black. This is absolutely ridiculous when you really think about it. This guy represents all the negative stereotypes. He looks like a criminal. He looks like the type of person that, look, he's in court for assault. Okay, he's in court for breaking somebody's jaw. He looks like any criminal you would see in a lineup, but for some reason, he is accepted, and that is acting black. And that's acceptable. That is an acceptable form of acting black. Now, if I were to ask you, what is acting black? How many positive stereotypes would you be able to name? Now, if I say acting white, what would that represent? Just think about that for a second. I'm gonna do another video on this because this is a very, very important topic that African Americans need to think about. We need to think about what direction we're going to go. Are we going to abandon this foolishness, or are we going to continue to coddle these ignorant thugs and this ignorant mindset that we have and that we almost cherish, this return to slavery? We're going backwards.
Talking over me. Right. You see, there's one difference. I'm not him. Now, when you start going for bad, let me tell you something. See, you cold-cocked him, you sucker punched him.
Yeah, win, lose, or draw. Yeah, I fights. Yeah.
I'm trying to help you out so somebody doesn't kill your fool self. Let's try this. You got a cloud of death hanging over your head because you've been failing. Somebody tried to get your tacky head self off in college, and you running around here trying to perpetrate that you're an ignorant hood rat that got as far as college, but you can't talk anymore.
Judge Joe Brown just spoke some truth. We learned how to speak English. We fought to get in school. And look at this. Look at this idiot. Look at this nonsense. I feel so bad for this guy's parents. He's a thug. He is a worthless thug. Maybe he's pretending. I don't know if he's putting on a show, but I know that some people do pretend to talk like this because this is acceptable in the black community, because this, the black community acts, another YouTuber was mentioning this, the black community is like a fascist state. Everybody must be in line. and you must be a certain way. You must dress a certain way. And I'm going to get in on this. I'm going to make another video, and I'm going to talk about this because we are full of hypocrisy. When you stop and think and analyze everything, it's a bunch of random hypocrisy, a bunch of foolishness, and it's hurting us. It is hurting our image, and it produces negative stereotypes, and it produces prejudices. A lot of people want to get away from the prejudice, but they continue this nonsense.
When you're trying to talk about my dead homies, see, that doesn't bother me because,
and
excuse me,
to his side of the story, but you didn't listen to my side of the story.
You hit him.
Homies, I never said that.
What's your excuse for hitting him? What's your excuse
My
for hitting him?
excuse for hitting him is because he put his hands on me first, sir. Yeah. He was telling me.
Well, he had a right to take hands upon him and throw your dumb behind out the front door.
I told him I was
That's what a bouncer does.
You can tell Judge Joe Brown is very, very, in a way, embarrassed. He's embarrassed. I mean, it's embarrassing seeing people like this on television just pushing every negative stereotype you can imagine and making the whole look bad. It's a bad look. Most of these rappers are selfish, ignorant sounding, foolish sounding, bad examples of Black America. And people around the world take notice. I've been overseas. I've heard what people say. I've had people come up to me and ask me if I can rap. You know, this is the image we have. And we have these retards on TV acting out every negative stereotype you can imagine. And we have to make a choice. You know, the title of this video, we're talking about speaking black versus speaking properly. There should be no such thing as speaking black. We should be aiming to do our best and to speak well. If we want to have a distinct African American accent or cadence or dialect, that's fine. But this way of talking is not. It's not proper. It's not normal. It sounds like criminal talk. It sounds like slave talk. Most, some African American comedians will straight up clown the way slaves used to talk. We'll laugh at that stuff now in retrospect, but that's how everyone used to talk because we didn't have access to an education. But we have Brown versus the Board of Education. We desegregated the schools. People now have equal access to education, and look at what's happening. And not only that, now they've become intolerant of people who speak better than them. We have a black president for at least the next until this election cycle's over in another 9-10 months, and he speaks well, and so does his wife. And his wife, Michelle Obama, went through a scenario similar to this when she was growing up, getting good grades, speaking properly. People in her neighborhood in Chicago told her she sounded funny. That's crazy. Anyway, I'm common denominator. I got a lot more videos like this coming along. I got a lot of information to put out on this. I think it's time we make a change. I think it's time we make a decided change for the better in African America. And I'm out.